Right now, we have in the Assembly, there is a bill for mandated paid sick leave. This extends to part-time, full-time, and seasonal employees, okay? No matter the size of your company, you would have to provide a certain number of days of paid sick leave to your employees. If you are an employer that is less than 10 employees, it's 5 days. And if you're more than 10 employees, it's 9 days, okay? So it starts on day one of employment. You can carry the days over from year to year, so you can accumulate them. You as the employer have to report them and allow them to be taken in 1 hour increments. And you have to keep the records for up to 5 years, okay? 5 years, 1 hour increments. Very strong anti-retaliatory provisions. So if there's someone who you may perceive is abusing the leave, very difficult to reprimand them for that because the anti-retaliation provisions are very strong. And the other piece of this, and this is the one that I find exceptionally challenging, is the employee, when they're going to exercise the sick leave, they can call you, if they're supposed to start at 9, they'll call you at about 8:30 in the morning and say, I'm sick, I'm not coming in today. They don't have an obligation to call a colleague to fill in for them. Now think about shift work, and I love to tell the story. I bartended all through college and law school. And if I couldn't make my shift because I was sick or for whatever reason, I had the roster of people who could fill in for me. And it was my obligation to make a phone call and get someone to cover that shift. I didn't think that was a real big deal, okay? I knew I had to do it, so I was prepared, and I always had the list, okay? It's a responsibility to the employer. You have to find their replacement. They have no obligation to make a call to find their replacement. So again, depending upon the type of business, you think about the pizzeria and the bartenders and people in restaurants, okay? You have to find their replacement. So now your business is going to open at 9 o'clock. You're going to be down an employee, and you have to find an employee. And now you're going to pay 2 employees for that day as well. Very challenging for small business. Why is this a problem? Because in theory, we don't want people coming to work when they're sick, right? It's good socially, it sounds like the right thing. But you know what? You all get it. Over 70% of New Jersey businesses already provide paid sick leave. Over 70% already provide it. But you provide it in a way that works for your workforce. Because there's a big difference in what a policy should be for the corner pizzeria versus the 1,000 employee data center, right? And you know your workforce, you know what works, you're the boots on the ground. So you put in welfare programs that work for you and your employees. That's what makes you competitive. That's how you attract a skilled workforce, which means you get sales, you get profit, and you grow, okay? That's healthy competition. You get it. Over 70% of New Jersey businesses get it. So what about the 30 that don't? Well, rather than mandating a one-size-fits-all and putting you all in the box and having to change your processes and procedures on how you're going to deliver that program, how about we think about incentivizing good business practices or finding another way to get at the 30% who don't provide it or understand why they don't provide it, okay? So we always tend to legislate to the exception to the rule or to the perceived bad actor. This is how we legislate in the state of New Jersey. We need a paradigm shift. We need to start thinking about the majority of people, the majority of business, and how it impacts them. Mark, you have a question?
I was going to ask you who sponsored that bill, Michelle.
Lampett. It's Assemblywoman Lampett. But Assemblyman, the Assembly Speaker, Prieto, he's very much behind this. He's very strong on this. Now, the current statewide bill does not have a provision in it where it would preempt action. Right now, we have 9 municipalities in the state of New Jersey, 9 municipalities, who have imposed a local ordinance on paid sick leave. So Trenton is an example. I'm a Trenton employer. I have an office also in Fairfield where I have 10 employees who work on our magazine, okay? I'm one employer with 2 locations. I'm under a Trenton ordinance. I'm going to have 2 policies. I'm going to have 1 policy. So now a Trenton ordinance is impacting employees up in Fairfield. Another example is the Trenton ordinance, for example, says if you work more than 80 hours over the course of a calendar year in the city of Trenton, you're deemed covered by the ordinance. Now think about this. A law firm, for example. So Tom, you're in Princeton or West Windsor, okay? How many hours do your lawyers spend in Trenton in a year? Probably more than 80. Guess what? your West Windsor firm is subject to the Trenton ordinance for those employees. Does that make sense? So Trenton is expanding their powers beyond their own because your employees are transacting business more than 80 hours in the city. Very, very problematic. So we have brought a lawsuit on the Trenton ordinance with 5 other business partners, so a coalition of businesses, because we are directly affected, but of course we're bringing it on behalf of our members as well. And our first hearing's next week, so we'll see how we do on that. There was a question in the back.